a big eye opener for me. Even when I was an employed consultant, it's like, yeah, I've just done a 12 grand deal. It's like, well, it's not really 12 grand once you've factored in overheads, costs, salaries, national insurances, software, LinkedIn licenses. In reality, you've probably made about 4 grand profit.
Thank you for joining me on the Recruitment podcast. And I am so excited to welcome to the podcast world of recruitment, Sam Hameed, who is the co-founder of SPG Resourcing and the group managing director of SPG Intelligence. Although he's appeared on a number of podcasts, he's never appeared on a recruitment one before, which I'm really excited about. I love that. And we talk about the innovation that they have done as a business. And there are two distinct unique selling points of why I think you need to continue to listen. The first one is why we should be investing in technical and industry specific qualifications for our recruiters to elevate the knowledge of your industry. So it's not just about passion, it's about understanding the actual nuances of the industry that you're in. And then the second is rethinking how we reward in recruitment and moving away from the commission focus and making it more around each individual recruiter running their desk as a profit centre and being rewarded accordingly. We have had a previous guest on that's discussed this with us, but to hear it from somebody that's going through this right now as you listen is really exciting to me. There's some serious innovation going on with Sam, so I can't wait for you to get to know him. So let's jump in. This is Lysha Holmes and I'm your host on the Recruitment podcast, and I'm really excited to welcome to our global community today somebody who has, I think, got introduced to the podcast and has become a new listener, which is fantastic news. And just speaking offline, I think we're going to get into a really passionate topic of mine, and it's one that I discussed with a previous guest, so I can't wait when I know that things go full circle. So without further ado, let me introduce Sam Hameed, who is the co-founder of SPG Resourcing and the Group MD of SPG Intelligence. Welcome to you today, Sam. How are you?
Very well, Lysha. Very good to meet you, and thank you very much for having me.
You are very welcome. So I know if people are watching, they might think that you're in some kind of blue sphere, but you're not far from me, actually. You're just over yonder over the Pennines, aren't you, in Leeds?
I'm in the Leeds office today, yes.
In the Leeds office. So give us an introduction as to what business does and who you are and what your role is.
Yep, so Sam Hameed. So I've been in recruitment now for 15 years. This is my 16th year going into 2026. So I set up SPG Resourcing in August 2021. And then more recently, this year, became Group Managing Director of SPG Intelligence, which is our technology services business.
Okay. And what do SPG Resourcing do? And then tell us about SPG Intelligence.
Yeah, so SPG Resourcing. So we technology recruitment business. I'm not going to try and jazz it up. So me and my business partner Gareth, we set it up. So he's a technologist. He used to be one of my clients in the early days. His frustration has always been around hiring good tech talent. He only ever used myself, so I must have been doing something well. And ultimately, he was knocking on my door for years, saying, "Let's do something together." With a bit of a different sort of standpoint from your traditional recruitment. I mean, we are recruiters. So we came up with a concept. We've got a technology business with 35, 40 heads in. One of the biggest frustrations with most hiring is getting crap through the door, getting CVs that haven't been interviewed, that haven't been vetted. So one of our service models is that we will get our internal technologists to technical interview candidates prior to submitting them to external clients. So that's worked really, really well. So sort of year one, we had a 95% hit rate on our permanent filled roles, and then year two, as we continue to grow, it was like an 85% hit rate on all permanent vacancies. So that's worked really, really well for us. So core areas: permanent, interim through traditional sort of contingent, T&M, statement of work, and project-based recruitment is our sort of core offering.
Amazing. I love, first, there's 2 points there. First and foremost, the fact that your co-founder is actually a client from the industry. So he understands exactly, and you understand from a stakeholder management perspective, which is brilliant to position you as a USP. Actually, I know you were being slightly facetious about that, like, we're all just tech recruiters. No, actually, that's a unique selling point. And I think the fact that so your actual interviewing style and the value add to your client is that your recruiters will actually do a technical interview. So is that one that you have designed yourselves, or is that bespoke to each client's technical needs?
Yeah, so varies per client. So we've got one client where we support with quite a lot of interim work. They won't even interview the candidates, so we'll do that all ourselves, and then we'll just rock up on Monday morning with the logins and we'll get cracked on. That's more on the interim side. On the permanent side, we'll agree what those pre-interview questions are, and then basically present them with a with a service wrap up of answers, questions, how that happened, and then deliver that to them and say, 9 times out of 10, we'll find the right people. It's just that cultural piece, whether that individual can work with that hiring manager on a day-to-day basis. That's been really, really successful for us.
And it does, because it's solving the client's issue, and it's ensuring that your recruiters are so immersed in their job that they know they're going to get success from it. It's like a win-win situation. It almost makes me feel like that's how everybody should be doing it, right? It's not rocket science.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, it is a premium service.
Yeah.
Clients do pay a premium. Some clients don't, which is absolutely fine. But for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. If you can reduce your time to hire by paying, a small increase in your fee, then that's going to save you, weeks, days,
Absolutely.
in terms of going through the CV sifting, first and second stage interviews. So it's been a no-brainer for us.
So I'm interested to really delve into this then, because so the people that you hire for your business, and maybe this is where, as industry leaders ourselves, we need to take more accountability for, the people that we bring into our industry. I think we all have a shared responsibility for that. How do you assess whether your recruiters have that technical capability and prowess to be able to deliver to
Mm.
your client? Like, what's your method of engagement?
Yeah, so it's tough, and during the early days, we, like most agencies, we hired some bad hires. Our lights have just gone out now,
Oh, wow, I was going to
but
say that.
they're on a timer. Um, we know we made some bad decisions and hired some recruiters that weren't up to our standards. So we're very, very thorough in terms of our process for onboarding recruiters.
Yeah.
But it's actually our technical engineering team. So if we're hiring data roles, we'll get our internal data team to hire them, as in our own engineers. If we're hiring, project managers, we'll get our own internal project managers to interview them. But one of the things we do offer is, all our recruitment consultants, they have don't quote me on this, have a £2,000 or £2,500 a year training budget per
Right.
person.
Okay.
So we've utilised that to upskill themselves in technical certifications. So
Really? Okay.
so James, who's our BA consultant, he's done his foundational, he's now doing his advanced business health certification. Got people who's done the AWS certs, for Azure certs, and so forth. So we can really have in-depth conversations with both candidates and clients.
That's really, again, these are all really interesting points that they're like eureka moments for me, because
Mm,
A, as an industry, I don't think we have invested enough in training and developing our people enough over the last couple of years, particularly since COVID, really.
mm,
It's been like a frenzy, really, hasn't it? And then certainly the last couple of years have been more challenging from a revenue generation perspective. So that gives them more gravitas and more credibility with your client, because they're actually, yes, it's you funding it, but it's them taking their time, presumably, to go and do these qualifications. It must take a
100%.
certain type of recruiter that wants to do that. One that really, I had a previous guest on where we talked about being passionate for your industry.
Mm.
So you've got a recruiter who's passionate, but a recruiter that's actually educated and trained in their industry. Wow, what a combo.
Yeah. Again, because I say all our recruiters, again, it's a little bit old school. We all work in like really, really siloed domains. So we'll have certain people working purely in data,
Yeah.
purely in change and transformation. So they
Yeah.
live and breathe that. So yeah, I mean, it works for us. It doesn't work for everybody. We're still small. I hate using the word boutique, but that's ultimate way out from a delivery perspective.
I know, I like the word boutique. It sounds, who doesn't like a fashion boutique? Shop? It's how you see it, isn't it? Now we were talking before we started recording about a significant change that you've made to your business, and it wasn't because I'm not giving this lady credit. It created this conversation that you had listened to a guest from season 5, the fabulous Kath Reynolds, who is the co-founder of Balance Recruitment, who's a finance recruitment specialist, but she's come from an FD background, and we were having the conversation around recruitment companies and recruitment founders running their businesses where each desk is run as a separate P&L. So it's about creating this accountability, again using that word, for the recruiters to understand what their desk cost is and therefore what their ultimately their profit is on that. So can we go back a step and just tell me, like, why have you decided to implement this into your business now?
Yeah, so we're at the final stages of developing it and implementing it. So it's for me, it's come off the back of obviously when we set up 2021, phenomenal year. It was like, wow, this is easy.
Mhm.
2022, the gold rush continues. It's like,
Yeah.
making hay whilst the sun shines, and then sort of 2023 was a bit of a reality check, and obviously last year it was like, "Ook,"
Yeah. Yeah.
looking at profitability per head, where are we spending where's all our operational costs going, and also we're trying to basically break down what is the cost per head on an individual basis for that individual to a break even, and what is a number per person to become profitable, and again, it hasn't been rolled out to a team yet until sort of next year, but that's your current desk cost per individual. That's what you need to do to break even, and then based on profitability per person, we can then put like a retention long term incentive bonus off the back of that at the end of every year for everyone.
Mm. I mean, anyone that's been listening to this podcast for a number of years will know that I've waxed lyrical about this from day dot. Maybe it was because it was ingrained in me in my first leadership role, which is pre-key recruitment. This is going back about 24 years ago, where my role as a branch manager, I was targeted on my bonus on each individual desk making profit. So therefore I ran each member of my team, I was so focused on them understanding how their desk made profit
Mm,
that I used to, whether I was supposed to or not, I shared that information with them. I had full visibility of the profit and loss, so I shared it with them to say, if you're asking for this pay rise, that's fine, but then your cost goes up by this, you're going to need to build this much more.
mm,
And I think we often underestimate, don't you think, Sam, that actually recruiters are quite commercial, and understanding what that looks like is something that we should all have known from day one. So if you know that your desk costs 5 grand a month, for example, you need to be clearing that before you even consider that you're making money for your business. And then
yeah.
you're expecting and I think it's only when, you know, I I partner a lot of people that go and set up on their own, and I ask them to really think about what that looks like, that you realize a lot of people, that's not something that's talked about openly. It's almost like shrouded in privacy. It's not something you should be made aware of. But I don't get that mentality at all.
Yeah, I think we were sort of the big eye opener for me. Even when I was an employed consultant, it's like, yeah, I've just done a 12 grand deal. It's like, well, it's not really 12 grand once you've factored in
Yeah.
overheads, costs, salaries, national insurances, software, LinkedIn licenses. In reality, you've probably made about 4 grand profit. Uh,
Yep.
and that was a big eye opener. And I think the other thing which for me, between our previous CFO exiting, our new FD starting 2 months ago, I played like the interim FD. I've got a finance background, but I'm a numbers person. I love data,
Yeah.
and literally building new cash models and building new cash flows from scratch. That was a massive eye opener for me in terms of breaking literally everything down to a penny.
Mm.
And my OCD helps as well.
Right. Well, maybe we've all got tendencies like
Yeah.
that, those that are sort of in recruitment or certainly running recruitment businesses. I genuinely think that if we were to go back to the beginning of the recruitment era, I think it was the 1940s, the first recruitment companies, but like really 1980s possibly, where it became much more competitive, where if we lost the commission mindset and we
Yeah.
focused more on rewarding on profit, I think we would have many, many fewer recruiters, which, we're possibly going on that trajectory anyway, with the way that the market is evolving,
Mm,
shrinking possibly. But I think we would have a much better reputation in the external market, because we would be seen as business partners rather than just, recruiters that just want to earn their commission. Because the amount of times over the years where I've had people say that flippantly to me, even to me as a business owner, oh, you won't earn your commission. And it's like, I'm not here to earn commission. I'm here to make profit, actually. So for me, it's all around, that mindset. So I'm very interested. We'll have to watch this space, because as we share this at the beginning of 2026, you're probably on that trajectory right now. But I think I'm very interested to know from our audience, and I'd love you to comment on this post or to share it in the whichever podcast platform you're listening on. Is this something that maybe you've worked within, or is this something that you've thought about doing yourself within your recruitment business? Because I think it'd be great for you to connect to Sam and go back in our archive from season 5 and have a look for Kath's episode. Because I think that genuinely we all have a responsibility as recruitment professionals, but as leaders particularly, to nurture and develop business people. And that I don't understand the logic. It's something that I've always done in my business. Shannon's been with me since 2017, and she's been on a profit related scheme after her first year, because I was like, right, I really value her. I want her to be well rewarded, but I also want her to take ultimate responsibility for the terms that she agrees, how she does business, who she chooses to do business with. And you're talking a significant change in mindset. So
Yeah.
That's really exciting. So you've not touched, what's the intelligence? What's SPG intelligence then? What's that component?
So basically it's our technology business. So we provide technology services into a wide range of businesses, from public sector. Do quite a lot of work in health, manufacturing, social housing. That can be anything from. The 3 key service offerings are our cloud intelligence offering, so 24/7 network forensic, network monitoring.
Wow.
Anything to do with, I hate using the word AI, but it's applied, what I call applied intelligence. So most of it is all around gearing up organizations to be AI ready, because most companies' data isn't in a great state. So he's supporting organizations getting ready for that. And then the software side is basically where we'll go build platforms for businesses as well.
Wow, that's incredible. I love that you've got that. I did see that. I mean, I was looking at the platform, and yes, I think anything that will optimize, because that's what your strapline is, optimize operational performance. And that's certainly, I imagine, from a growth perspective, like you say, a lot of companies are backpedaling, quick, need to do this now.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of it's to do with, cost savings with organizations, with, lots of enterprise businesses have got, lots of legacy debt, lots of technical debt, and it's ultimately how we go into so we do cost optimizations around that. So yeah, I mean that business has been operating for longer resourcing business, so about 6.5, 7 years in its current state.
So it's been that one came first, so to speak. So what's next?
So that came first. Yeah, that came first. Resourcing business came second. In our software business, which is a little bit sort of to the right hand side, that's where we build products. So there's a couple of interesting products currently being built, which we will bring to market. One very early next year, and then the other one, depending if we get a sign off for it by our ELT, is something to do with the recruitment world. So.
Not allowed to give me any clues.
No, not yet. No, not yet. I can't.
No, he's not. He's not allowed to. There was a little glitch there when I think he was tempted to.
I can't. Yeah, I find it very challenging keeping anything in, but no, not as of yet, because it's still in beta stage. So.
Are you an oversharer, Sam? Because I get the feeling you might be, because I certainly am.
I am.
Although I'm very discreet and covert when it comes to day-to-day recruitment, but if I get excited about something, if I have an idea about something, I just can't help but share it with people. It's very exciting. And you've got, I know that we were talking off camera that you've got an internal community where you have a podcast for your actual people, which I think is really...
Yeah, so we've been, again, as part of our sort of growth model, across both businesses is our working on our EVP internally. So Ben, our marketing lead, who's a genius, loving to bits. He came up with the idea of doing an internal podcast, which again it helps share content and knowledge across the businesses. Because again, where Leeds, there's an office in Newcastle, one soon to be in Manchester next year. But a lot of our technologists, work remotely across the UK, so it's a good way of bringing people together and sharing content.
Lovely. And will we see an external one maybe?
Quite possibly. Ben's very busy. He's probably doing the job of about 3 people at the moment,
You could be
so,
hosting it. You've been a great guest, so I think this could be your future, Sam, just add that to your repertoire, fit that into your working day. That is fantastic. And I know that you haven't, which is what I love when I invite on guests that haven't necessarily exhausted all the recruitment podcasts out there. We'll make sure people can get in touch with you because I think that what you're doing is really innovative and
Mm.
definitely different. So there might be some recruitment leaders listening that aren't competitors, they're in maybe their own space, but are listening going, actually, we're really interested. So I'll make sure that they mention the Recruiters Recruitment Podcast because we love to share value and make sure that people are learning from one another. But you've been a really great guest. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. You've been listening to the Recruiters Recruitment Podcast, and we always value your feedback. So thank you for listening.